Join My Pyramid Scheme podcast. Kyle and Nicole, aka Mom and Dad, coming to you from the banks of the mighty Lake Wateree, where we're camping back at Wateree Recreation Area again. So we'll start this thing off. This is going to be a short podcast, short by my standards, which means it'll probably be under an hour, but more than 45 minutes. Because it's like 72 degrees in here, we gotta turn the AC off whenever we record. So we'll start off by going through kind of where we've gone, what we've been doing, tell all the same stories that Lindsay heard whenever we talked to him on the phone about a week ago. So
now she can't forget him.
if she wants to hear him a second time, hey, keep listening. If not, maybe skipped like ahead by 20 minutes or so. But and then I want to talk a little bit about what we talked about in church today, because I really found it interesting. The what was I looking at? Oh, the lesson from the Old Testament in Deuteronomy 20,
Chapter 20, verse
1 through 9, and then also continuation of the Holy Gospel according to Luke 14 verses 16 through 24. Yeah, so I'll talk about those a little bit, because those ones are kind of interesting. They stuck out to me, and also that continuation of the Holy Gospel. I remember pretty clearly hearing our priest in Southern Pines sermon on those verses as well. He had kind of a different take as what our newest priest here in Columbia, who just got ordained last week,
2 weeks ago.
or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he had kind of a different take on it, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Trying to think. So for Lily Kate and Billy Bob, to keep your guys' interest in this, what are some of the cute things that they've said in the last couple weeks, or since? They're just like funny things that they've said without trying to be funny. Actually, Billy Bob does it a lot lately. Doesn't it seem like it?
Well, it's mostly just sticks, I thought.
Well, yeah, his mispronunciation of sticks. You can have a lot of fun with that if your sense of humor is mildly inappropriate.
Something funny happens, and then I think it's funny, but I don't like write it down, so I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what sucks. They're like, because there's times when that kid has this, like, he's got me in stitches from time to time. I'm just dying laughing at something he said when he wasn't trying to be funny at all.
We were laughing yesterday. I don't remember why though.
Yeah, man, it's easy to forget. It's kind of funny. We've been busy the last couple weeks, and we've finally gotten to actually treat this a little more like camping, because I've got a lot of downtime right now, and we've pretty much gone where we wanted to go. We went to Camden Columbia RV Park, which was pretty sweet.
After we left Virginia.
Yeah, there's nothing in particular there to see. It's a nice spot to set up and stay at if you're like traveling. Like, there's not a big body of water next to it or anything, but it's nice. It's a pretty nice campground. And then we came out here because we wanted to be on a lake and be able to go do, nautical things. We wanted to get naughty by the lake. Nautical. So yeah, we came back over here. This is like our third time camping at this campground, and we're trying to make it to every site at some point. So far, we've stayed
1, 3, 17, and 22.
Yeah, so we've stayed in about a third of the sites here at this campground. But this is definitely, this has kind of been my favorite campground. Of course, it's hard to beat Lakewood Camping Resort.
Oh yeah.
In Myrtle Beach. Yeah, because you're right there on the ocean. They're doing surfing lessons now. They started having activities again. Now it's the summer, and now that people realize coronavirus was fake anyway, so they're actually doing fun things at that resort. We follow them on social media, and it looks like a pretty fun place to be.
Expensive in the summer though.
Yeah, but we've made 2 trips to the beach since we came back down here to South Carolina. The first time it was when like shark sightings were at their highest, and we saw one. I went out for a swim just to, you know, every morning our routine has been run 2 miles. We go to the like recreation area at Kershaw County where there's a half-mile track. There's also a half-mile track at the Veterans Park. It's south of Camden. Yeah, it's literally on the Wateree River, but yeah, it's closer to Lake Wateree. So we go there too, and there's a half-mile track there. The kids, 2 bigger ones. Billy Bob rides his bike. He'll hang with us for the whole 2 miles. Lily Kate will start out riding a scooter, riding a bike, and then ends up looking at flowers and bugs and just
She found a frog the other day.
Yeah. I found a little baby toad, which was pretty cool.
And then we came home and a bird. She like was holding a bird. I thought that was pretty crazy.
We came home. She just picked up this bird that was apparently not very afraid of humans. And I want to warn her that that's how you get disease, but I don't know. That's what Mom always told me not to pick up birds because you get disease, but I think it's because it was dead birds.
Yeah.
Maybe when they're still alive. Although if they're not afraid of humans, they might have some sort of sickness anyway. But at least we're not eating undercooked bats. Yeah, those jokes, we're still making them a year later. But yeah, 2 trips to the beach. Pretty cool. I swam out to get some exercise, swam back in, and Lily and a little friend that she made there on the beach, they're like, "What's that?" I turn around and there's a shark behind me. Like, kind of like an adolescent, maybe it was a tiger shark, I don't know. But, you know, I see a dorsal fin, and it wasn't a dolphin's, and he was coming into some pretty shallow water, but that was pretty crazy that he was right where, you know, it was coming from the place that I just came out of.
Well, and you were like surrounded by jellies.
Yeah, I turned around because I kept bumping into jellyfish, and nothing will make you uncomfortable like bumping into things in the ocean and not being able to see them. In the Pacific, you can see straight through. Like if you're surfing, you know, waves in Hawaii, you can see turtles swimming underneath you, and it's the coolest thing. But in the Atlantic, you can see like 3 inches into the water. So when you're sitting on a surfboard, you can't see your toes.
Yeah.
And if anything brushes up against you or touches you, that'll give you goosebumps pretty quick. So I just try not to think about the things that could kill me whenever I'm out there sitting on the surfboard, because it's gonna ruin something I enjoy if I do that.
That time at the beach though there was like starfish. The kids were getting all sorts of starfish.
Oh yeah, they caught a lot of starfish, and there was a really cool family there. They were every year they go there for like a week, and it's like this gal, all of her siblings and their families and her parents. Yeah, they rent out this house that's right there on the beach, and they were from Greenville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Greenville, which is far enough inland that, you know, if you're from Greenville, you don't really go to the beach as a day trip the same way we do. So there's, you know, folks like that who are a little further west in the Carolinas. A lot of the time they, you know, their trips to the beach are like once or twice a year. In fact, that time that there were people getting pulled out in the rip current, those folks were from Burlington, North Carolina, which is still not that far from the
Burlington
beach.
was like an hour from the beach.
Actually, yeah, it might be. But that's the thing. People, I don't know. People in the Carolinas, if they're like more than an hour inland, they think that it's a long ways to go to get to the beach.
When we went to that ultra race that you did, that girl we went to that restaurant, you know, when we were waiting for the car to get fixed.
Oh yeah.
And that girl was like, "Yeah, I've never been to the beach."
I
She said, "I'm going this summer. I'm going next summer, or in a few weeks or something like that."
But lived in a state that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that far either. It was Spartanburg area. No, it was North Carolina. Was it North Carolina?
Yeah. I think when you come from a landlocked state, and of course our kids, maybe they will relate to this depending on what our future holds, but for Lily, she was on the ocean for the first time when she was what, 6 months old.
Yeah, when we went to visit Kyle.
Yeah, and we were college students, but
And Billy Bob was a week.
yeah, a week old the first time he went to the beach. So for me, I was 14, and I don't think in 2030 there's gonna be a whole lot of kids who can say that they were teenagers the first time they saw the ocean. But
Yeah, that's still.
But
odd
there's
to
still
me.
there's still a lot of people
I
who
was in
never get out of
landlocked.
their hometowns.
I was in a landlocked state, and I went to the ocean when I was like 5.
Yeah.
Because I went with dance.
It's still and yeah, but being in western Idaho, you cross the state line, and then
I've never
it's
been
another
to
like
Oregon.
4 hours, right?
No, it's much further.
You didn't go. Oh, that's right. Because you were in Pocatello at that age, so it's not like the state line was right there. You were closer to Montana than you were to
And
Oregon.
I've never been to Montana.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you guys didn't get out a whole lot early in your lives.
Well,
I
my
didn't
mom
feel
worked
like-
all the time.
See, I didn't feel like I got out a whole lot as a kid, but I think the reality is, there was so much to see in Colorado,
Yeah.
you know, and in Colorado and the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, there was enough to see there that we didn't feel like we had to.
Venture out.
Yeah,
Even to Vegas.
and my family and it's also expensive to go far. Yeah, for some reason Vegas was always like my parents' getaway. So even when they didn't take us, and then later on, the allergenist, is that what you call it? The guy who treats people for allergy symptoms. That Vegas was where he was working out of, so it wasn't a bad deal to take Matthew to go see an allergy specialist
And go to
and make a little
Vegas.
vacation out of it too. I didn't always get to go on those trips. I think I went to Vegas when I was 5, and then again when I was 16. Those were the only times I'd been to Vegas until we went for those tickets that I got you on Mother's Day.
What was that? 2-year anniversary?
It wasn't an anniversary yet. Oh
no,
wait,
we went at the end of May.
yeah, it was.
Into June.
No, we weren't celebrating anything in particular when we were there. We just.
Well, we bought them. I think we went 27th of May.
It was the day before Mother's Day. I didn't know what I was gonna do for you, and I looked at tickets from Colorado Springs to Vegas, and we had.
And it was like $50.
Yeah, it was cheap, and I was like, I have that much money in my account, so I bought the tickets to
But we were
Vegas,
able to
and
go
then
to Celine Dion too, so we had enough money.
I think I might have booked the hotel ahead of time too. We stayed at Excalibur,
yeah,
right?
We booked the hotel and the flight and the Celine Dion.
It's not as
ahead of
expensive
time.
when it's just the two of us.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and also Excalibur wasn't.
That was also
Very
really cheap.
expensive
I think
either.
we spent like $150 or something for like 5 nights.
Yeah,
4 nights, 5 days. or
whatever it
something
was,
like that.
it was a good deal.
It was
And
insanely cheap.
but yeah, we probably came back with maybe $20-30 in our account, which wasn't a big deal because we were about to work through the summer anyway. So, man, you don't even realize like how much fun those times are. They're just to not have to worry about. We didn't have any serious bills to pay. Hardly any. We had to go to Walmart and get groceries, but that was it. We were living in that little white house, the one which your grandma Shauna came home to after she was born.
Hopefully, I mean, they still know what we're talking about. They'll remember the White House going to grandma's.
I hope it's still standing in a couple of years.
Me too.
I don't know. I really want it to be inhabitable. I'd love for Matthew and Dipper to be living in it because I'm pretty fond of that little house.
They'd probably prefer that too.
I don't know. I thought it was so cool to be like a newly married couple, and even though we were back at my parents' place, we still had our own house. We kind of had our
It
own
was
space.
Matthew would come over and play Mario Kart with us.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
And then they would just come over and eat dinner too.
And then whenever we wanted to have dinner with my parents, we'd go up to the house and have
And
dinner
watch
with them.
Game of Thrones.
That was, that was some years later. But yeah, that was still
That
a
was
time
after
when we were
graduation.
living. We lived in that little white house for a while after graduation. I had not planned on doing a winter in there. I didn't know if the house would stay warm, but it did.
Enough.
Yeah, but hey, we did pretty good. We spent, when my back was messed up, all we did was just lay on the floor and read books.
Yeah, I read Harry Potter.
I read Steinbeck. You read Harry Potter books?
Back before Lily was too hard to handle and we had more kids.
Don't let me forget, we gotta talk about movies to watch. I haven't read any books in a while.
Music.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I already know what song you're thinking of. I'm probably not gonna close the podcast out with it, but yeah, we gotta remember to talk about movies and music at the end. Who was it? I was asking that, and I think it was during the Sugar Shack session. I asked that, and someone was like, "What kind of question is that?"
Yeah.
Maybe it was Cody and Jess. It was like real original and thought provoking. But I think it's good because, if our kids are listening,
they'll be like, "Oh, this was popular at their time."
They're gonna listen to this maybe 20 years later, and if they want to go back and find some song that is really cool that none of their peers know about, because what are people gonna think of when they think of like old school music or like, classic pop hits? They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that song by Kesha or whatever," or I don't know what's
2000s, 2010s.
Although Kesha songs aren't gonna have a lot of longevity, I don't think. But who really knew whenever like Stairway to Heaven came out that people were gonna keep listening to that one for decades to come? Yeah. But anyway, we're rambling a little bit, and it's only gonna get hotter in here. We're at 74 degrees.
It's already up to 2
it's not.
degrees.
Yeah, it's not climbing that bad though.
2 degrees.
It's still a lot nicer when it's outside. But so yeah, we've gone to the beach a couple times. I found a rodeo that was happening in Inman, South Carolina, outside Spartanburg. So, and rodeos in like the Carolinas, you might be able to find like a place where they do bull riding on a regular basis, but it's hard to find a full rodeo out here. Most of them are IPRA, International Pro Rodeo Association, or they're SRA, Southern Rodeo Association, or it might be a sanctioned event from both associations. So I found an SRA rodeo, and I've been planning on going to it for about a week. Hadn't told Nicole because I wanted to surprise her. But the difficulty is Nicole likes to make plans.
But she also likes surprises.
Yeah, she also likes surprises. So I'm trying to find an excuse to start driving towards Spartanburg. But she's already talking about what we're gonna do later in the day, and I'm like, we're gonna do what I want to do later in the day. But then with women, you also worry about like, is it the kind of day where she thinks she can wear flip flops and short shorts, and it turns out we're walking through a pasture full of weeds to get to the grandstands. So I ended up just telling her before we left. I was like, hey, we're going to a rodeo tonight, and we're going to get home really late.
And then we're going to go turn around and go
Yeah,
to the beach
and
because
then
we were
next-
trying to meet friends.
Yeah, then the next morning we went to the beach. But so yeah, we made the drive out to Inman and pull up, and it feels good to be at a live event with other people, like hanging out. Nobody had a mask on. There was no talk about global pandemic or any of these like doomsday keywords. So it's pretty cool just to be there.
Every vehicle in the parking lot was something supporting.
And yeah, there's Trump stickers on all the vehicles and like AR-15 logos and stuff like that. But it's cool to go to, even though it doesn't feel that authentic, and you kind of want to just judge it coming from back west and being used to seeing kind of a higher level of competition. You're just thankful to be around people who are interested in the same thing as you and who you kind of share something with. You know, we pull in, we see people wearing Dale Brisby shirts, and it makes you smile because, you know, there's things that are kind of a part of your life that you can't just talk to a random person about. Like, you know, everybody I work, not hardly anyone that I work with, you know, would understand why it's fun to watch an animal get roped around its neck and then thrown to the ground and have its legs tied up. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to be out here and to still be able to find a rodeo somewhere. And when it comes to the level of skill, you definitely you see people here, and you kind of look at them and you're like, yeah, I don't have the best feeling about that one. And someone else backs into the roping box, and you're like, you know, I think that one's gonna get something done here, and it kind of goes that way. I don't know why it is. I kind of wonder if, you know, with they're amateur associations, but an amateur association out here on the East Coast is very different than the amateur associations that you have in Colorado and Kansas and Oklahoma. You know, there's some pretty strong competitors that come up in the KPRA.
Amateurs here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like one girl that I knew growing up, she was always ranked in the Kansas Pro Rodeo Association, and it was kind of crazy to see how she was able to make a living off of rodeoing and do pretty well at it. But yeah, out here it's, you kind of wonder what is it really like for these guys. You know, entry fees aren't that cheap, so how many of them are working really hard at another job so that way they can go blow their entry fee and not win any money?
Yeah.
But man, thank God they're doing it, because we got to go watch it.
Yeah, we were entertained.
Yeah, we sure were. And you know, there's a guy there who's 65 years old now.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We've seen him ride before.
Yeah, we saw him ride at a couple rodeos in the past. Bareback rider. You know, and he covers every time in his 60s out there winning money from these kids paying their entry fees, and it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
But and you know, see, like, you're not gonna see that in the PRCA. You may see a barrel racer in her 60s, but I guarantee her horse isn't in her 60s. So
or
yeah,
30s.
we went out to that rodeo and then got a few hours of sleep back here at Hotel Hartshorn, and then
like
got her on down the road.
6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, we did decide that we weren't going to do the whole early bird thing. We were going to wake up and leave for the beach when we were ready.
Yeah.
But high tide was until 10, and low tide. Yeah, low tide was until 10, and there was pretty good surf after low tide too. So I spent a lot of time.
There was no sharks or jelly.
Yeah,
or
no,
starfish.
didn't see a single
So
shark
we went to
or
the same
jellyfish
exact
that time.
place. A week later, same exact place a week later.
Yeah, it's weird, those migration patterns, because there were a lot of jellyfish the first time we
And
went.
starfish.
Yeah, were the kids looking for starfish?
They were just finding them.
I don't get as much interaction with kids whenever I go there to surf, but I am trying to make it so they're interested in surfing and that they're comfortable on a surfboard. But it's kind of cool. I sent them in on the board and, you know, find some waves, give them a push, and let them catch the wave. They wouldn't try stand up or anything. I think it was fun for them to ride it in at least. And Lily, she
did so good.
She rode one in, like, yeah, she was probably having a blast. She got off the board, but when you get off of a board, and this is paddleboard, surfboard, whatever, you don't want to be in between the board and the beach. You want the board in between you and the beach, because when the next wave comes, it's going to pull that board up, smack you in the face, and knock you down pretty hard. And I learned this as a 16-year-old on Huntington Beach in California with my aunt's surfboard that had a painting of Jerry Garcia on the bottom of it. Yeah.
It would. That would.
Yeah, that's Kathy. She's a little bit of a deadhead, but yeah, I learned that the hard way, and I'm pretty sure it happened to me later on too. It probably happened with a longboard in Hawaii, but I've got a few blurry memories of
Knocked you so
getting
hard.
getting my nose smashed in by a surfboard, and it happened to Lily. So I definitely wasn't 5 years old when it happened to me, but
These people
poor-
next to her
poor
were
kid.
just like these
Little college kids.
girls came over and just ran up and like picked her up.
Yeah, it rocked her. I felt so bad because I want her to like surfing, but I don't know how to express to a 5-year-old who doesn't listen too well in the first place. Well, she listens to
when she's at the beach.
yeah
Playing.
yeah when it's very hard for her to focus on things whenever she's at the beach having a good time. But how do you tell them, hey, keep the board between you and the beach? Whenever she just rode a wave in and she's excited, she's not going to think, get up and look around for the board. She's going to think, that was awesome, I just rode that wave in, ouch. Yeah. But yeah, for me, like, if I'm riding one in or if I wipe out on one, I make sure to go, like, deep under the water and then swim the direction I came from just a little bit so that way the board
I
doesn't
put
hit
my
me.
hands in front of my face.
Oh, you just
I'm just
got
like, I don't care where I'm at. I'm just.
Well, you saw it with the paddleboard. You guys saw me get rocked by it, didn't you?
Paddleboard?
Yeah, when we were in North Carolina. Oh, that happened a couple of times, but I was kind of ready for it because paddleboard you don't have a leash on or anything. I was trying to catch waves
Yeah,
with the
I remember
paddleboard.
that. It was way too cold to be watching, so I was.
Yeah, it was in Kitty Hawk, and everyone else was freezing on the beach. But
it was so cold. It was like 60 degrees, and the water was also 60 degrees.
I've been showering in cold water for the last few months, so I'm kind of conditioned to it now. But yeah, the paddleboards are big and heavy, and that thing came at me a couple times. But yeah, I did the same thing. I put my hands up in front of me and then rock back. Yeah, on one wipeout off the paddleboard, the back end of it came flying up, smacked me in the hand. And I'm still pretty sure that I broke a bone in my left hand because it still hurts even now. But I don't know. I just my hand was pretty swollen up that night. It went down after a couple of days, and I just went back to doing things, and it's okay.
Get it checked out after you do a jump or something.
If it still hurts after
in October.
After a few months, then maybe I'll get looked at. Just X-ray, be like, oh yeah, it was broken at one time. So yeah, we've made some trips out to the beach. We've done some fishing. Nicole caught a couple of catfish out on a canoe. We spent pretty much a day just putting around the lake on a canoe. Went clear to the far side of Wateree. So from where we are right now, it would be a 35-minute drive to go directly across the lake in a car. Unless you have a Toyota Prius, which, by the way, if you go slow enough, it floats. I definitely recommend for all you Prius owners out here to give that a try, but take it real slow down a boat ramp. Don't go over 5 miles an hour, but it will float.
Do Priuses still exist? It's like every car is
That,
now
and
an electric
that's
car.
so it's something called a hybrid. And I don't think they'll throw the term around hybrid anymore in the future because everything's gonna be electric, right? According to Joe Rogan. But something called a hybrid, which means it works on land and water. It serves two purposes. So, but no, if you drive directly across the lake, it's 35-minute drive, but it's only a mile across. So on a canoe, it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't take too. I mean, depending on the wind.
Yeah, we went and explored some islands and we went fishing. Pulled in a couple catfish. One was what we thought was too small, but really, the way we skinned them, we probably could have gotten some meat off of that thing. I mean, we would have got more meat off that catfish than what we do off the rattlesnakes that we try eating. So Nicole put the one that we did keep. Nicole put in the air fryer and cooked it with Ritz crackers and Old Bay seasoning. Was that all you used?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Old Bay?
Yep. It was Old Bay. I didn't even know we had Old Bay because you always order it on the side whenever we get pick and peel shrimp.
For the kids. Because they say it's spicy.
Yeah.
Clearly, I like spice. I'm the one that can handle
You
it.
do. I didn't think you liked Old Bay though. But so yeah, that was really good. Just Old Bay and Club Cracker in the air fryer,
Ritz cracker.
and yeah, Ritz Cracker, and it was better in the fried catfish than I get at Texas Roadhouse.
Cheaper too.
Yeah, cheaper too. My fishing license, yeah, in South Carolina you get a hunting fishing license combo for like $30,
If you're military.
and that's all. Yeah, if you're military, and that's all small game and fish, and then your deer
And
tags are
however
only
many
like another
deer
$5.
you want.
Yeah, you can get like it's what it's
It was
like $1 a
8 or
tag
10 or
for.
something, I don't know.
Yeah, you can pull in. You can shoot like 5 deer a year in South Carolina, and it's only like $15 or whatever to get your deer tags. So, yeah, my fishing license officially, I was the one who caught those catfish. But yeah, so we
At
finally
least
got
your pull.
I finally got some use out of my license that I got here.
Yeah, finally got some kind of game.
Yeah, man, that catfish is good. I really would like to have reeled in a few more of them, but
We've tried a couple times. It's not very easy to catch fish on
not
the
off
bank.
the shore. Yeah, it's a lot easier if you've got a boat or something and you go out. But yeah, I was pretty pumped. Lily caught a tiny little sunfish,
Yeah.
and they've done that a couple times. Lily, she caught a sunfish back at Monticello Lake too. Just another little fish. Real cool seeing.
Well,
Seeing
it's
her
just
reel something
exciting
in.
for them to catch fish too. Billy Bob's caught fish at John Martin at the little,
Oh,
not
you guys.
at the reservoir, but like at the one below the dam.
That's right. You guys said that he'd caught one at the lower lake.
Or like carp or something. I think was what you guys.
Hey, he caught something. So
Yeah, so he
they
hasn't missed
know
out.
that it works. Yeah. But that is pretty cool. You know, for kids, they just appreciate that they got to see the fish and hold it, and that they did something themselves. And I'm not big on fishing. I don't really like it, but if it makes my kids happy, I'll take them out there for an hour or so. It's easy here. You just walk down the lake.
It's really easy.
Billy Bob bombing that hill on his bike.
Oh man.
Oh man, so we told the kids they could take their bikes down. We started walking before they got their bikes or something. I think they're good
They
for
were
them.
doing the scooters. We told them
Oh,
to
they
bring
were
their
on
bikes.
scooters. Yeah, we told them to ride bikes down because it's asphalt. And so Lily, did she walk hers down the hill?
She didn't get a bike.
Oh,
She
she decided to walk. Billy Bob was still gonna ride his bike because that boy
We'll
rides
ride it everywhere.
bicycles. Yeah, he'll ride it everywhere.
When we told Lily to go to the grass to stay out of the road, and then we told Billy Bob, but he was already riding.
We looked up the hill and Billy Bob hadn't dropped in on the hill yet, and I said to Nicole, I was like, he's moving fast. And then he did drop in on the hill. I was like, hey, get on the grass. And he moved towards it, but I think he realized that
He might crash.
That it
if he
was-
on grass.
yeah, that the grass wasn't as, you can't tell how smooth the grass is as opposed to being on a paved road. So he stayed on the road and he's flying down the hill.
He was going at least 20.
And
At least 20.
oh man, my heart sunk. Like it was scary because he's moving so fast, and I couldn't at the time. I couldn't tell if he was crying or laughing.
He was laughing.
Yeah, and big old grin on his face. He had no idea how fast he was going.
How
And-
bad he could get hurt.
Yeah, how bad he's gonna get wrecked. And there was a direction for him to go, but I don't think he would have kept going down that road. I think he would have either tried to lay on the brakes too soon, or just I don't see any way that he would not have crashed, and I don't see any way that it would have meant like a trip to the ER because he was going so fast on a little bike. So I ran out into the road and I stopped him with my stuck my arm out.
Clotheslined him.
Yeah, clotheslined him to catch him and stop him, and it hurt my forearm. Like he left a mark where his forehead hit my arm, and he
And then that
starts.
started crying.
Yeah, then he started crying, and like my heart was still racing. I couldn't believe how much force he hit me with. But man,
It's just like-
even
Yeah.
just
Stop.
thinking about that now, I can't believe that he went that fast down the hill.
I
With-
didn't think anything of it.
Didn't get speed wobbles.
What? Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
Which
Very
bicycles?
cool.
I mean, you think about motorcycles, like it's not like people get speed wobbles on motorcycles. unless they do something sporadic with the handlebars. Like, I think bikes kind of straighten themselves out. Skateboards do not do that.
No.
I don't know what kind of boards they use for the mega ramps, but yeah, the
He's
kids.
going fast. He loves that bike.
Yeah, he
loves
does.
riding a bike.
And Tom loves. Yeah, he loves anything that his siblings do. So we had to get him a scooter.
There's too much crying and whining.
Yeah,
And
he
scooters
felt
and
so left
moving.
out with his siblings riding scooters around. And whenever we'd see him on the scooter, it was pretty clear that he knew the basics enough that he was
Scoot
having fun
around.
with it. So yeah, we went to Target, got him a scooter, and it turned out Nicole had already had a gift card for Target
Yeah, I didn't know.
or in-store credit, something like that. But
So it was pretty much free. It was
Yeah.
like $5 or something.
yeah, only spent $5 that day and got Tom his own scooter. So he has a lot of fun with that. It's just cool. He'll do whatever he can to try to keep up with his siblings, and he wants to do what they do. So he's kind of figuring out how the Strider works. You don't have to walk him around. He's pretty slow on it, but taking him to like a steady downhill, you can see he's figuring out how to balance it. So I think
In the summer, he'll be good to go.
if Billy Bob's good on a bicycle, just wait for Tom, because Tom's gonna.
We'll start it a year earlier than Billy Bob.
Yeah, it might be, but still, Billy Bob. Dude, when we go to playgrounds and parks, we don't see kids the same age as Billy Bob riding bikes unless they're on training wheels. So it's kind of.
And their parents are still over them, like,
Yeah.
okay.
And I didn't realize that kids could ride bicycles so well at a young age till I saw Cade Holden. Like, that, it blew my mind because he was on a little, like, his bike was about the same size as Billy Bob's. I can't remember how old Cade was, but he was riding around popping wheelies. And that's just how, Cade's always kind of been like that, though. Cade was a fearless little kid when me and Brady were, like, jumping out of the swings at Milton and Carol's house. Cade was the one who had to, like, he had to show off and do something crazier and even cooler. And we're like, yeah, try a double backflip out of that swing, and he'd do it. And sometimes he crashed hard, but I don't know if I've ever seen Cade cry. I know the, like, young, like, under 10 years old Cade a lot better than I know, like, you know, the
Cade now.
the cowboy at West Texas A&M. But it's kind of funny to think about. Like, I don't know, Billy Bob's kind of turned out a lot like how Cade was at that age. Although,
He's very sensitive.
yeah, except Billy Bob is sensitive. And if you're listening to this, you know, at an age where you're still sensitive to what we say about you, it's like, it's not a bad thing to be sensitive at all. You're
He's got a sweetheart.
Billy Bob's got a big heart. That's all there is to it, and he cares deeply for everyone around him. You can see that he would do anything for his siblings.
It's taken
Yeah.
advantage of.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Lily, you took advantage of your little brother a little bit. So if you're listening to this, send him a hologram message real quick. Just tell him, hey, I know I took advantage of you from time to time because you were so sweet and so nice to me, and you should know that I love you. And who knows, he might be listening to this around the same time as you, and he's gonna go, hey, I know you just did that because Mom and Dad told you to, but I appreciate it because you're my sister and I love you.
We can only hope.
Yeah. I think they're gonna be the type of kids that talk to each other at least once a week.
I hope so.
Yeah. They're pretty sweet. What else have we done? Anything else we've done? Huge. I feel like we've been non-stop.
Well,
The
every
whole
day
time.
we get
But a lot of
up,
it's-
make breakfast, go run, go work out, make lunch, do nap time, make dinner, go fishing.
At least like 350 calories a day, and somewhere in the ballpark of like 3.5 hours is dedicated to just exercising and fitness. And then Nicole has all her like mama like domestic duties that she attends to, so that takes up a lot of her time. I play video games because it entertains the kids, and we watch a little bit of Bluey, this like Australian cartoon about dogs, about blue heelers. It's really cute.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Much better than any of the crap that's on TV in the United States.
But I'll tell you what, like after spending a few hours running and lifting weights in the heat out here, it feels pretty good to hop into a camper that has 2 air conditioning units.
Yeah, it feels
And
really nice.
and to take a nice cold shower.
Sit down.
Yeah. But I don't know, between like all the traveling for seeing the rodeo, going to the beach, making trips into Columbia for church or whatever else.
Storage unit.
Yeah.
Oil change.
Go to
Scooter.
work briefly.
Like 4 times.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like we're busy, but I think you can give us downtime with nothing that we have to do or responsibilities, and we're still gonna go hard enough to wear ourselves out.
I like that. I like to go.
Yeah. Should we?
76.5 degrees.
This thing's still recording, right?
Yeah, see up there?
I can't. Privacy screen. Okay.
It's at 41.
41. Cool. Let's talk about Deuteronomy 20, verses 1 through 9 a little bit.
Chapter 20.
When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and I think like
Are you just gonna read this?
I'm gonna read the whole thing because I think it's awesome. This is a very military part of the Old Testament, which, by the way, Old Testament is full of some really great violence. Like,
yeah.
like the story we read today, we read about when Elijah returned to Israel, and this was after like the people of Israel were following King Ahab, and they turned from God, and he, basically set up a test where he prepared a sacrifice, and he told I just call them pagans because whatever they weren't Jews. These people who started following,
Non-believers.
yeah, they were following another god, Baal. Is that what it was?
I don't remember. I wasn't
Yeah, but
in there.
they started worshiping another god, and they said, and the test was to make a sacrifice, and that basically the pagans failed, and then Elijah steps up and prays to God to accept his sacrifice, and then fire shoots down from the sky and consumes this bull, and everyone's like, okay, hey, your God
We
wins.
were wrong.
Yeah. So they turn back to God, and then after that, the story was that Elijah, they slain the pagan priests. And it's cool because
This is in the children's Bible.
we're reading this to the kids from the children's Bible, and there's parts of it where we're like, oh, they didn't spare any details on that one.
Well, that happened.
That was pretty metal. So yeah, a lot of great violence in the Old Testament. But Deuteronomy 20, 1 through 9. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them. For the Lord of thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you, he should be capitalized, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall spake unto the people, saying, What man is there that hath built a new house, and hath not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and hath not yet eaten of it? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife, and hath not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's faint heart as well as his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people.
That was the lesson.
I don't know if I even understand it right, entirely. Is this saying you have business to attend at home? What officer would not let you go home to attend to your? But it says lest he die in battle. So, what?
I think it's saying don't go home after you do your work. Go home.
Yeah, when
Don't
this
go
battle
do something else over here. Tend to your family and your home and your land.
and the way I took it was that you have a purpose
Outside of.
Yeah, that there's a reason you need to win this battle. There's a reason if you haven't dedicated your house yet, another man is going to do so if you die here in battle. Not that that's a terrible thing either, because if you do die in battle, what you have on this earth wasn't really yours in the first place, because it was God's. And you should be glad to see somebody else
Take care of it.
Yeah, to be blessed by it. But I kind of think that what they're saying is the officers are telling their men, there's something to live for here. There's a reason to be victorious, and you can go tend to this if you survive this fight. So don't return home in a cowardly way, but
Fight the fight.
yeah, do the Lord's work, win this battle, and then return to kind of your earthly purpose. Which even your earthly purpose is also, it should also be a godly one. And the way I see it, I think that when you return to your family and to your livelihood, what you're doing should be God's will. But I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. And then it gets to the end. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. And it's so let them know task, purpose, motivation, and then select your leaders who are going to achieve victory. I also could be interpreting this entirely wrong, and maybe it says just go home and go home and take care of your business so that you don't die. But I really don't think that's what this is talking
I think
about.
do your job here so that you can go home.
I was thinking about the lesson that
And
Yeah,
also
go
go home.
the lesson in the epistle usually don't get explained too much in depth. You got to go to Bible study for that sort of thing. But the continuation of the Holy Gospel, that's usually going to be in the pre-sermon. So our priest in Southern Pines, his take on Luke 14 verses 16 through 24. So here's how this one goes down. At that time Jesus spake unto the Pharisees this parable: A certain man made a great supper, and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee have me excused. And another man, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and showed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and the hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say to you, that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Praise be to thee, O Christ. So, that one, when, our priest in Southern Pines said this, he got really into the invitation to dine with somebody, part of it. And it's always hard to really be able to focus on the sermon and to gather what's going on, because you kids are usually a little
Anything
restless.
that happens in Southern Pines, I don't know.
Nicole just doesn't pay attention.
I
But
can listen to the new guy.
What's his name? Travis.
yeah,
I can hear him, and he's also engaging.
he does have a very, his way of speaking. His speaking is very much like, I talk about the FFA state officer voice.
Where he emphasizes
Travis,
things,
yeah,
sounds and words and whatnot.
yeah, he does that too. There's kind of a cadence to how he speaks, and it's more like the Methodist Church voice,
Yeah.
because that's where he grew up. But I'm a fan of people speaking in a way that just sounds pretty genuine. I try to do it on the podcast, but sometimes I worry that I don't, because, well, for one, I try to project so I can make sure that both phones pick up what I'm saying.
Yes, you're very loud.
Yeah,
We can always hear you though. So.
yeah, but I really hope that the way I talk on the podcast is the way that I talk in conversation. But it's pretty hard, whenever you know that something's being recorded, to just talk like you don't know something's being recorded. 52. Okay, we got 8 minutes. So yeah, he said his take on it was, when somebody is, inviting you to dine with them, it's an invitation for intimacy.
Oh
And
yes, I remember this.
yeah, and it did stick with me, because, from time to time we would have some excuse why we didn't stick around and enjoy fellowship after Mass.
Some excuse
everyone
meaning
else.
that it was nap time, and we just spent an hour and a half wrangling kids at nap time.
But sometimes we went to Valenti's right
Yeah.
after, went to
Which
Valenti's
was
or
our
went to the
excuse,
Chinese
so we could
buffet.
get there faster.
Yeah, and when the
And
berries,
home for bed.
well, with the berries started making supper, and I was like, you know what? It was like they're bringing lunch to the church. Yvonne's going through all that work to prepare a meal and to have some
Stuff that
to be at what a church is meant to be, not to just come and attend the same Mass together. I was like, okay,
fellowship.
yeah, we don't want to turn down an invitation for intimacy with the church. We should be there. We should dine with them. And whenever we attend a new church for the first time, we try to engage in what they're doing after Mass, because that invitation for intimacy is, it's important. As Christians, we should take a second to get to know one another, and to talk and look for, just look to understand each other a little bit. I was really interested in Myrtle Beach, going to church there and seeing how many people came from all these cities in the north that were falling apart. That was something that stuck with me. I was seeing, families like ours, and a lot of them came from places like Chicago or Detroit. So, you know, I definitely think like good good chance that is one of the purposes of that parable from Jesus. Now, our priest here in Colombia, here the newest priest here in Colombia,
Mhm.
his the way he talked about it was that you know the master of this household had prepared a meal which was meant to be shared with everyone, anyone who could be in attendance, and it's kind of a welcoming thing. So you get one, you know, one perspective that's kind of like condemning the uh, the men who were first originally invited, and another perspective, which is the masters, as that you know this feast will not go to waste, and we're all going to engage with each other. That kind of makes me think of Mark's the way anytime we would like have something going on, if we were going to Raising Cane's after our labs for ROTC, or if we were going to IHOP after class, the way he pitched it was always everybody's going to be there. And because when you're, I don't know,
Like
3 minutes, yeah, when you're young and a little insecure, you're always like, well, who's going to be there? You know, you're trying to figure out, yeah,
Is it just gonna be you and me?
Is-
Is it
are
gonna be
any of-
awkward?
yeah, are any of your buddies going to be there? Like, the most uncomfortable situation is when, you know, you're there, like, it's a group of people that are already friends
And you're just
and
there.
close with each other, and you're just there. But, and like C.S. Lewis says, don't just build inner circles, but bring everyone in, make everyone a part of things. So, I think that's really cool that Travis had that viewpoint on it. Um, that it's also kind of about just you know bring in everyone. You know the person who's a little awkward or kind of weird, or you know the poor, the blind, whoever it may be, invite them all to dine with you, and
We have this food.
yeah,
Let's not let it
make
go to waste.
make an occasion of it, enjoy it. So that yeah, that's the big lesson to take away from this podcast, I guess. Although we talked a lot about our travels and adventures, but always invite people in, even the ones who are a little weird or a little awkward. Make them a part of your adventures, and you may be pretty tickled that you formed certain relationships with people who you may not share a whole lot with, and you may find that you shared a few things with people who you didn't expect to. But that's the big lesson from this one. Let's talk about. Do we
2
have time?
minutes.
Okay, we got 2 minutes. A
That movie. What's
Yeah,
that
you gotta
called?
watch Kon-Tiki, Kon, and then Tiki, Tiki. It's about
Based
a
on
group.
a true story.
Yeah, based on a true story. It's about Norwegians who took a ball of.
Raft.
Yeah, they took a raft from Peru to Polynesia. They were trying to prove that, well, the leader of it, he wanted to prove his theory that Polynesians came to the islands from South America rather than from Asia. Still not a theory that's accepted, but he proved that it was possible. It's pretty cool. They called it the South Equatorial, and drifted to Polynesia, and then surfed over the reef. Really neat movie.
So good.
A lot of the bizarre things are actually kind of true from it too.
Yeah, they were able to do video, like, they had video footage. When was it? The 40s? Wasn't it just after
Yeah,
the
it
war?
was like 47 around there. It was right after World War II. So a few of the guys were veterans of World War II, and you know, just adventuring
30s.
was pretty. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, music to listen to. I know Nicole's waiting for me to say this one, but OC Guns by The Offspring.
It's like his favorite right now.
Yeah, it cracks me up because it kind of like, you know, it talks about like Hispanic gang culture in Southern California a little bit, and if you're like a poser in Southern Colorado, you're basically pretending to be like a Southern California Hispanic gangster, so that's kind of funny. And that's time. This was Join My Pyramid Scheme. Thank you for watching and listening.